Welcome back, first graders. It's Miss Van Wert. Today we are starting our new domain, Domain 5, and Domain 5 is called Early American Civilizations. The last domain we had was called Early World Civilizations. So we're still learning about civilizations, but this time we are learning about civilizations that were in America, okay? Not all over the world, just in America. Today's lesson is called The Maya, a Harvest and a Hurricane. Our learning objectives for today are going to be identify where and how the ancient Maya lived, explain the importance of farming to the ancient Maya, demonstrate an understanding of the word harvest and the phrase the more the merrier, and write a summary statement about the Maya and farming. Our key vocabulary are harvest, hurricane, maize, and shore. Harvest is a verb, and harvest means to gather a crop. The girl and her father harvest lettuce every spring. And over here in this picture, it looks like it's Miss Michelle Obama and some kids who are harvesting what looks to be sweet potatoes. And I think I can see some tomatoes in the background. So they're getting those crops or those vegetables and they're gathering them or collecting them, okay? Hurricane. Hurricane is a noun, and hurricane is a severe storm with very strong winds and heavy rains. The meteorologist predicted strong winds and rain would come as the hurricane hit the East Coast. This is what a hurricane looks like from up above. Okay, so this is like way, 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 way far up. So like this is the United States. Like this is the outline of the East Coast of the United States. And then here's the ocean. Okay, so it's very far up. Maize. Maize is also a noun, and maize is just another name for corn. Okay. The farmer had a large crop of maize he sold at the market. So maize is just the same thing as corn. We just call it a different thing. Shore. Shore is a noun. And shore is the edge of a lake, sea, or ocean. Seashells often wash up on the shore. So right here, this is the shore. All right, so let's talk about things we've already learned so far when talking about civilizations. So we know that some civilizations developed a long, long time ago. Which civilizations have we learned about so far? We've learned about Mesopotamia and Egypt, right? And where were those? Where was Mesopotamia? It was over here, right? And where was Egypt? Right here, okay? And what was one thing that they had in common? One thing that they had in common that helped those civilizations be successful. I'll give you a hint. It has something to do with water. They had rivers, right? They were right near rivers. So the rivers in Mesopotamia were the Tigris and the Euphrates rivers. And in Egypt, it was the Nile River, okay? So today we're going to learn about another group of civilizations that developed in a place closer to us. Early American civilizations. So what continent do we live on? I want you to look at this picture of the world map, and I want you to figure out which continent we live on. Okay, which continent do we live on? We live on the continent of North America. Okay, and North America is all of this blue. Okay, so we live in the country of the United States of America, which is on the continent of North America. Okay, but there are other countries on the continent of North America. So there's Canada and Greenland and Mexico. Those are all countries that are on the continent of North America. Okay. Oh gosh, it's not working. There we go. Okay, What do you remember about Christopher Columbus coming over to America? You would have learned about this in kindergarten if you were here at DCA last year. Did the Europeans know that there were already people and civilizations that existed before they came? So when they were coming over, did they know that there were already people living here? No, they didn't. All right. When Columbus and the other explorers came, they met 3 important civilizations of native people that existed in Central and South America: the Maya, the Aztecs, and the Inca. We are going to learn about the way of life and important contributions made by these civilizations. Okay? Who remembers the 5 key parts of a civilization? We had farming, cities, leaders, writing, and religion. Okay? 5 key components of a civilization. So let's talk a little bit about the Maya. Okay? The first civilization we're learning about is the Maya, aka, or also known as, the Mayans. The Maya were unique or different because they did not have a single government or even religion. Each city-state that made up the Mayan civilization had its own government, religion, and economy. Okay? So that would be like if we all, basically they're all together, they're one place, but they have different governments, different religion, and different economy. Okay. The Maya lived in the rainforest in Mexico and Central America. Okay. So right here, this is Mexico in the yellow. And then if you look up here, that's the United States. So I'm going to show you on the other map that we were just looking at. So the Maya, they lived in here. Okay. This is Mexico. This is the United States. North America is all the blue. So the Maya lived over here in Mexico. Okay. All right. So this right here, this part that sticks out, is the Yucatan Peninsula. Okay. Do you know anything about rainforests? What kind of stuff do you know about rainforests? What's the weather like there? A rainforest is a type of forest that is very wet and very warm. Many evergreen plants live in the forest, which means that the rainforest is green all year long. So instead of having trees that lose their leaves and trees that change color, their trees stay green the whole year. Okay? All right. I want you to remember our key vocabulary. And our key vocabulary are harvest, hurricane, maize, and shore. Listen carefully to find out how the Maya lived and how they got their food. All right, so I want you to tell me what you notice about this picture. What do you notice? Okay. Today, you're going to hear about the boy in this image in our read aloud, okay? Once there was a Mayan boy named Canal. Canal lived with his family about 3,000 years ago in an area that is now called the Yucatan Peninsula. A peninsula is a piece of land nearly surrounded by water. So let's go back and I want to show you that. So a peninsula is where most of the land is surrounded by water. So this whole part is surrounded by water, and this whole part is surrounded by water. Okay. So this is in Florida is also a peninsula. Okay. This is Florida, the state of Florida, and it's got water on 1, 2, 3 sides of it. Okay. So this, the Yucatan Peninsula, is where they lived. All right. One day, Kanal was working in a field near the village where his family lived when he saw another Mayan boy coming his way. It was his cousin Pick. Kanal smiled and said, "Hello, how are you?" Pick had been lost in thought. He answered, "Fine, thanks." But he looked unhappy, so Kanal asked, "What's wrong?" Pick said, "My father told me that he is certain there is a hurricane headed this way. He is worried about being able to harvest the maize in our field before the hurricane reaches us." Remember, maize is another word for corn. And Pick's father is worried about being able to harvest or gather all of the maize or corn in time before the hurricane hits. Maize or corn was the main crop of the Maya for food 1,000 years ago, and it still is today. Like most plants we grow for food, maize should be picked when the time is right to get it at its best. Kanal knew this, so he understood why Pick was upset. So why was Pick upset? Because he was afraid that the hurricane would destroy their crop of maize, and then his family would not have enough food to eat, right? "That's terrible," Kanal said. "Let us go find my father. He will know what to do. He is one of the wisest men in the village." So the boys started down the dirt path toward their village. As they drew nearer, they saw the houses ahead, each one made of stone. Do you see the houses in that picture? They're made of stone. Okay. Where was I? Kanal's younger sister, Ekel, was sitting in front of their house weaving cotton to make a brightly colored garment. Okay. Which one do you think is a sister? How about this one? Yeah, you see what she's making? Okay. When she saw the boys, she smiled. Kanal asked her, "Has father returned from fishing?" "Not yet," said Ekel. "If you are looking for him, he said he would probably try the place where he caught the big fish last week." So the two boys continued on through the village. An old woman smiled and waved them over. "Here is a little something for you boys," she said. She handed them some chicle, fresh from the sapodilla tree. She smiled. Chicle is like chewing gum, and the boys popped some into their mouths and said thank you and continued on their way. Go to the next page. There we are. Okay. 10 minutes later, they reached the riverbank. A little upstream, Kanal's father, Toon, stood knee-deep in water while the other village men were getting out of the canoe. What's a canoe? It's like a little boat, right? Toon was strong and very smart, and everyone liked him. Kanal and Pick watched as Toon and the other men dragged a fish net from the canoe to the shore. Remember that the shore is the land at the edge of the river. Okay. As the boys hurried forward, Toon and the other men drew the fish in the net onto the riverbank and looked up. "Hello, Pick," he said. "Kanal, what are you doing here?" "Father," Kanal replied, "Uncle believes that a hurricane is headed this way. He is worried about the maize. It could be destroyed if it is not completely harvested before the hurricane hits." Toon listened and then turned to Pick. "My brother can normally tell about these types of things," he said. "We are family. We will help you pick your corn. Tell your father, Zook, that I will come this afternoon and bring other family members to help." Oopsie. Let's skip the page. The boys grinned with excitement. "Thank you, Uncle," said Pick. "I will tell my father." He ran off to tell him the news. Kanal looked down and saw that his father had caught many fish. He picked some up, and Toon took the rest. Then they headed back to the village. As they came to their village, Toon stopped each time he saw other relatives to ask if they would help harvest the maize for Zook. Everyone agreed to help. Families all depended on each other in their efforts to grow plants, hunt, and fish, and even build or repair one another's homes. Each person knew that when it was his or her turn to ask for help, the extended family would be there. An extended family includes people like aunts, uncles, grandparents, and cousins. By the time Kanal and Toon reached home, everything was arranged. Toon said, "This afternoon, your Uncle Zook will find that he and Pick have all the help they need harvesting the maize. Then we will need to prepare our house for the hurricane." That afternoon, Kanal, Toon, and all their relatives helped Zook and Pick harvest their maize. They all worked late into the evening, and then everyone went back to their houses to get ready for the hurricane. They hoped that the hurricane would not damage their homes, but they would have to wait and see. What do you think is going to happen? I guess we'll find out. Okay, it is word work and question time. If you need to take a wiggle break, go ahead and do that and then come right back. All right. So what is the setting of this story, or where did this story take place? The rainforests in Mexico and Central America, a very long time ago, right? What crop was very important to the Maya? Maize, which is also known as corn. Very good. So I want you to look at this picture for the next question, okay? Describe the houses in this picture. How are these houses in this picture the same or different from your home? What do they look like? Look at this roof. What's this roof made out of? Looks like it's made out of straw, right? Is your roof made out of straw? Probably not. Okay. Do they look very big? Not really. Do you think they have TVs in there? Probably not. Okay. All right. So why was Pick so worried about his family's maize or corn? Why was he worried? Because there was a hurricane coming and he was worried that it would destroy the maize before they could harvest it. Then his family wouldn't have enough food to eat, right? I'd be worried. And who helped Pick and Zook harvest the maize? Kanal and Toon and other extended family, right? Would Pick and Zook have been able to harvest all their maize without their extended family helping? Probably not, right? And why not? Because they wouldn't have had enough time to harvest the maize because the hurricane was coming and it was coming fast, right? And because Pick and Zook's extended family helped, it took less time to harvest. And was farming important to the Maya? Yeah, right? How do we know this? Because the family is upset that they could lose their crop, right? And they didn't have like the same kind of stuff that we do. They grew their stuff, okay? All right, word work time. In the read aloud, you heard Pick's father is worried about being able to harvest the maize in their field before the hurricane. I want you to say the word harvest with me. Harvest, okay? Harvest. Now, can you say it in a whisper voice? Harvest. How about in a mouse voice? Harvest. Very good. So farmers harvest their tomatoes when they are plump and ripe, or when they're ready to eat. What kinds of fruits or vegetables would you want to harvest? I want you to use the word harvest when you tell me about them. What's the word that we've been talking about? Harvest. Very good. I am going to say some items. If you think you would be able to harvest that item, I want you to say, I could harvest that. If you think you would not be able to harvest that item, say, I could not harvest that. Maize. I could harvest that. A kitten. I could not harvest that. A mailbox. I could not harvest that. Wheat. I could harvest that. Green beans. I could harvest that. All right, guys. Let's see. Oh, I already asked you those questions on the other page. All right, let's talk about our learning objectives. Did we identify where and how the Maya lived? Yes. Um, did we explain the importance of farming to the ancient Maya? Yes. Did we demonstrate an understanding of the word harvest and the phrase the more the merrier? We didn't talk about the more the merrier, but that just means that the more people there are, the happier you'll be. And a good example of this was that they wanted more people so that they could get the things done, right? And then here in a minute, you're going to write a summary statement about what you learned about the Maya and their farming. Okay. Awesome, awesome job. And I will see you next time. Bye.